Welcome back to our third presentation for Franchise Times Prime Time. We are very happy to have you, our audience, with us for our final one of the day. We are very excited to have with us Scott Windrick of Physical Therapy and Balance Centers. Scott, welcome.
Thanks, Mary Jo. Appreciate the opportunity. Good morning, everybody. My name is Scott Windrick. I'm the Chief Development Officer for Physical Therapy and Balance Centers. I've been involved in franchising for about 18 years, and I actually started my career in franchising as a multi-unit franchisee. So a little bit about Fyzical before we dive into the rest of the presentation. So Fyzical was started in 2013 by franchise industry veteran Jim Abrams. And today we have 435 open locations across the United States, and that includes 50 corporate clinics as well. So our primary business is providing best-in-class physical therapy, but we have a really unique niche in balance and vestibular therapy that you'll learn more about during the presentation. So for my presentation today, we created a really compelling video tour of the business model, the industry that we serve, and some of the financials around Fyzical. But before we get into that, I thought I would share a couple of reasons why I'm excited about Fyzical and why I decided to join the team here. First and foremost, it's the industry, right? There are very few franchises in the healthcare industry. And because of the demographic and lifestyle trends, the demand for physical therapy is going to continue to grow at a rapid pace. Secondly, you don't need to have physical therapy or healthcare experience to own a physical franchise. We help our franchisees hire great PTs for their locations. I also like the simplicity of this model, right? So it's a minimal number of employees, a small footprint space that doesn't require expensive real estate. We don't deal in cash. There's nothing to steal. There's nothing to spoil. It's a clean, appointment-driven business model. And I do love that niche that we have in serving patients with balance and vestibular disorders like vertigo. There's virtually no competition for this. As a former franchisee with other brands, I like that we employ professional salaried employees rather than low-paid hourly employees. A lot of times there's a high turnover rate with folks like that. It's tough to deal with. And lastly, I guess I'd say that I really appreciate that we're in an industry that truly does good things for people and the communities that we serve. All of our franchisees are people that have a personal satisfaction with that. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and start the presentation. Ready for that, guys?
What does it mean to be part of Fyzical? It means making remarkable connections. It's the little things we do daily to connect with our patients, our peers, and our communities. Fyzical's therapy is more than healing the body. It's reconnecting people with their lives, their independence, and their loved ones. It's a dad picking up his daughter without pain. It's a grandfather dancing with his granddaughter at her wedding. It's an athlete returning to the top of their game. These are the moments that make us proud. Every day, we empower and inspire others to live life on their terms. Large or small, every decision we make is an opportunity to enhance our community's wellness and strengthen the bond that we have with them. By doing things in a way that meet their immediate needs and makes them feel a real connection, a reason to love their lives. We are the most trusted and accessible entry point for wellness and health and the leader in vestibular rehabilitation and balance therapy. When you become part of Fyzical, you are part of a larger community of business leaders and healthcare professionals with one common goal: to help others. That's what it means to love your life. That's Fyzical.
independent needs a champion. And that champion has arrived. Fyzical is a holistic solution that's disrupting an entire industry. The future of physical therapy is a complete approach designed to serve the holistic needs of patients while simultaneously preventing future injury. To embrace this future is to embrace a wealth of opportunity for you, your business, your employees, and your patients. Fyzical is an industry-leading business model with a complete solution for success, no matter where you are in your business. Fyzical members receive education, access, tools, strategy, and support on a tailored and individual basis. Measure what matters most with our proprietary 10-point management system designed to increase your efficiency and maximize profit. Drive sustainable growth through our differentiated products and services, cutting-edge market solutions, and best practice execution of traditional growth opportunities. Put the industry's top experts to work for you, exporting their lifetime of experience directly into your business, enhancing your business outcome and patient outcomes. Become a powerful brand that consumers and providers both know and trust with Fyzical. Provide patient-centered care in an inviting and uplifting environment, ensuring an experience that keeps your clients coming back. And become the balance and vestibular rehabilitation expert by utilizing our proprietary balance treatment paradigm that includes fall prevention. Balance and fall prevention are the future. The cost of fall-related injuries alone exceeds $68 billion, and falls are the leading cause of fatal injury among older adults, a population which is rapidly expanding. Treat your patients like your family and serve this underserved market, because Fyzical is a family. And with over 400 locations nationwide, we are the largest community of independent owners in the U.S. Individually, our members are achieving their goals. And collectively, we are transforming the industry and the lives of thousands of individuals every single day. Together, we are building a bright future with unlimited potential. Love your business, love your life. Experience the Fyzical difference.
To understand Fyzical, you really need to understand the man behind Fyzical, serial entrepreneur Jim Abrams. Jim is either the founder of or sat on the board of all the brands that you see here, including 3 franchise brands that he grew to thousands of locations before he founded Fyzical: Benjamin Franklin Plumbing, 1 Hour Heating and Air, and Mr. Sparky Electric. Now, obviously, all of those were in the home services categories, but Jim saw 4 commonalities between the 3 industries I just mentioned and the PT industry. So they're all fragmented industries, lots of players, lots of mom and pops. Consolidation was starting to happen in all those industries. They're very profitable businesses when they're run properly. And there's a lack of business education amongst folks that own businesses in those industries. So let me put that in perspective. So the typical path for an electrician, as an example, that owns their own businesses, they get their education, they then work for someone else, and then they say, hey, I can do this on my own. And so they do. But the reality is that they're so busy working in the trenches that they never learn how to scale their business. That same thing applies to physical therapists that start their own business. So the real magic behind the development of Fyzical was to teach people how to run a physical therapy business like a business. A few reasons we love this business is that there's a growing demand for our services. It's no secret that America is aging. In fact, 10,000 baby boomers retire each day. Now, couple that with early hospital discharges, a trend towards minimizing the use of narcotics, and the demand for elective surgeries like knee replacements, et cetera, that creates an enormous demand for physical therapy. It's also a fragmented industry with no clear market leader. In fact, the top 20 providers of PT services capture less than 22% of the market share. Also, healthcare businesses in general tend to command a higher multiple upon sale than most other industries. In this business, you're dealing with professional employees. They take their career very seriously. It's much different than a situation of managing scores of hourly employees. Fyzical is also a low-cost business option. Our typical location costs around $250,000 to open, including working capital. And lastly, we don't need fancy Class A real estate. We can go into office space, flex space, Class B retail, and because of that, we can keep our rent costs down. So let's frame up the size of the opportunity in physical therapy. In 2018, the industry was estimated at $34.5 billion. But by 2023, it's projected to grow to over $45 billion. Before we move on, I do want to take a moment to talk about what physical therapy actually is. Most people think of it as rehab from injuries or surgery, and that is definitely true. However, there are many subspecialties within the industry, like pediatric therapy, hand-specific therapy, and pelvic health. Now, Fyzical does all those types of therapy, but what makes Fyzical truly unique is our approach to balance therapy. Fyzical is recognized as an industry leader in this category. This is really important for you to understand because there's virtually no competition in this space. Physical therapists in all their years of education learn very little about how to treat patients with balance and vestibular disorders like vertigo. And this has created an entire industry of physical therapists that have no idea about how to treat balance disorders, and that creates an amazing opportunity for Fyzical franchisees. But why is balance and vestibular therapy so important? Well, because falls are the leading cause of both fatal and non-fatal injuries among older adults, and 40% of the US population will experience clinical dizziness or balance difficulty in their lifetime. In many cases, these things are treatable, but very few healthcare providers know how to treat these disorders. So a typical scenario goes like this. An older parent has been having dizziness or balance issues for some time, but it's not something they experience all day, every day. So at first they kind of ignore it. Then they mention it to their primary care doc, but they have no idea how to treat this. So they send them to an ear, nose, and throat doctor. The sad fact is that if the condition is not treatable via surgery, the ENT usually has no idea how to treat it either. So many people just go untreated. This then affects their lifestyle and eventually can lead to a fall, which can be catastrophic. The fact is that many of these disorders are very treatable if you know how to diagnose properly and then design a plan of care to do so. And Fyzical specializes in this, which has led to rapid growth for us. Today, we have over 420 open locations across the United States, including 32 locations that we own as company locations. We're not just franchisors, we're also operators of these businesses. As the brand grew, it became important to bring in some other talented people to help the company grow the right way. To that end, we brought on Brian Belmont as our CEO. Brian's a franchise industry veteran and is the former COO of Planet Fitness. He knows this industry very well and was able to surround himself with some other great people, including New Harbor Capital. New Harbor's our primary owner of the company. Jim Abrams still sits on the board of directors, and we've got Steve Spinelli. Steve is the president of Babson College on our board of directors as well. We've also got Mike Graves. Mike is a multi-unit owner and entrepreneur. Daryl Travis is the CEO of Brand Trust, which is a large marketing firm based out of the Midwest. And Bill Capraro is an area developer with 7 locations in the Chicago market. Some of the early folks that were part of the brand are Dr. Chris Mulvey and Dr. Rick Douglas. Both were multi-unit clinic owners in Southwest Florida, and they were instrumental in the beginnings and starting of Fyzical. And now today, Rick is our president of franchise operations, and Chris Mulvey runs our corporate clinics. And then we're very excited to bring on Mary Ellen Torres as our chief branding officer. Mary Ellen lives all things marketing and helping our franchisees succeed in the marketing world.
When I think of Fyzical, I think of people being connected. Our clinicians being connected to their patients, our corporate staff being connected to the owners and their staff, and the overall leadership connected to the brand.
Fyzical, it's all of us together that make it happen, and that includes future franchisees, and it's a good place to come in every day to not only help our associates, but also to help our franchisees.
What we're really providing is a place where it's all about patient care and patient outcomes. And that's the culture that we want our owners, our franchisees, to set with their teams within their individual businesses. You know, we as the franchisor support that by providing them the tools and resources to run a great business. But at the end of the day, it's always got to come down to and be about patient outcomes.
Yeah, Fyzical really began by providing an initial roadmap for existing clinical owners. They were traditionally conversions of folks that may have been in practice for 10 or 20 years and putting together the plan to increase their profitability. It's grown to not only existing therapists, but investors, folks that have been in the franchise community, and ultimately with the same goal in mind, not just unit profitability, but overall wealth of our franchisees. What's on the horizon for Fyzical is growth, growth, growth. We're very easily going to double our footprint in the next 3 to 5 years by that number of locations. We will continue to help our multi-unit owners grow. Our corporate team and staff will grow to support that. And we'll grow as a national brand and provide more innovation, more product, more services. All that's facilitated because of our growth. We are over 500 stores within our pipeline and stores open. That's just the tip of the iceberg. And I think of the opportunity as we have gone from an emerging growth brand to a sustainable growth brand. As we approach 50 states, nearly every major DMA in the US or every major market has opportunity. There isn't one that doesn't. I think the thing for folks to consider is timing. Now would be the time. It's less opportunity when we're 1,000, because we will be, and when we're 1,500 and 2,000. And there's a lot of people, especially in the franchise community, say, man, I wish I'd have thought of that or got in then. Well, now's now, and now's the time to get in with Fyzical.
What comes to mind is really innovation, because it's really the opportunity we bring in and the innovation that we have within our programs and our protocols and what we do within the franchise model that gives this opportunity and wealth back to our franchise systems.
The opportunity that I see for a potential Fyzical franchisee is really looking at the current healthcare situation in our country overall, and just recognizing that physical therapy has been proven again and again to provide a lower cost alternative for healthcare with better outcomes. And we are still only reaching about 10% of the patient population that could benefit from physical therapy. And so from that standpoint, it's a wide open territory for us to continue to reach out, utilizing the resources at Fyzical headquarters, from the operations team, the marketing team, the development team, and the business analytics, patient analytics and business analytics, to reach that market. Is really, the opportunities are just endless for us. There's so much out there that we can improve upon, access that part of the community, and provide great care.
So let's talk about the model a little bit. It's a really simple model. There's no cash, there's nothing to steal, normal business hours, and it's a recurring revenue-based model. So a typical situation goes like this. Our marketing activities generate new patients. We then do an intake with a new patient and their first evaluation. During that first visit, we design a plan of care. Think of that like a prescription. Following that up with typically about 11 subsequent visits. Then when the patient's better, we discharge that patient, create a raving fan, build brand loyalty, and the structure starts all over again. So let's talk a little bit about who's working in your business. One of the other benefits of this model is the small staffing requirement. When you open your Fyzical, you need just 3 employees: a physical therapist, a front desk person that we call a client care specialist, and a sales and marketing rep. Now, you could choose to act as the CCS or the sales and marketing rep if you choose to, but if not, you'll need to hire for these roles. As your business grows, you will add additional physical therapists or physical therapy assistants. As an example, if you wanted to build a clinic that produced $1 million in revenue, that means you would need about 6 employees: 2 physical therapists, 2 physical therapy assistants, your front desk person, and a sales and marketing rep. Now, let's take a look at some of the numbers around the business. Earlier, I mentioned that we have company-owned centers, and our average revenue for those locations is just over $1 million per location. And remember on the last slide, I used the example of building $1 million business. I referenced that you would need 2 PTs and 2 PTAs because on average, the revenue per clinician is $227,000. Our franchise locations average less because many of them were conversions of existing clinics that are smaller than the 2,000 to 2,200 square feet that we recommend for a startup location. This just doesn't allow you to have as many clinicians to drive revenue through the business. As far as opening costs go, that will range from $112,000 to approximately $369,000. That includes your franchise license fee, which is $49,000, equipment, build out of the space, and everything you need to start a location, including a generous amount of working capital. On average, we estimate total opening costs of around $250,000. As we're nearing the end of our presentation, I wanted to touch briefly on franchise support services. We have a full suite of support services, including initial training with you and your physical therapist, a real estate team that will help guide you through the process of selecting the right location. Our operations team will work with you on your financial planning and goal setting for your clinic. And the marketing team is here to help you with your website, local marketing support services, training, and a ton of really great collateral that's at your fingertips. Following all that up with ongoing field operations and marketing support to help you as your business grows. Over the years, we've been fortunate enough to have been recognized as top in class by some industry experts. But what we take the most pride in is how our franchisees feel about joining Fyzical. Franchise Business Review is a completely independent organization that does in-depth surveys of franchise systems. When they asked our franchisees if they would join again and recommend Fyzical as a business opportunity, the overwhelming answer was yes. So next steps are you can download the guide that you see below you here, or we'll be reaching out to you independently and we can talk about next steps with you for your specific situation. Hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. I know there's a lot of content in there, but it's really good information, and we think it gives you a really good overview of the opportunity, the brand, and the industry that we service. If you want to learn more about Fyzical, you can go to physicalfranchise.com, and that'll take you to our franchising website. There's a ton of information on there, great content as well. We'd love to start a conversation with you. So if you go there, start there. Go through some of that information, and you can reach out to us directly as well. So appreciate that. We do have a few questions that I'll go through. So the first question is, what advice would you offer any company considering franchising their brand? That is a great question. I would say this. The reality of it is that there's about 4,000 franchise brands out there today, and only a handful of them ever get above 100 units. So I think if you're considering franchising your brand, your company, first and foremost, you really need to have a unique differentiation point. Secondly, you really need to be well funded, because it's an expensive venture to go into franchising. And then, thirdly, I would say that you need to make sure you hire a really world-class team of folks that have significant franchising experience. So those are kind of the three things that I would give advice around. Second question, how are you handling the ever-changing workforce changes? It's interesting with Fyzical in that, I alluded to this a little bit earlier, because of the nature of who we hire. You have to remember that we're hiring college-educated physical therapists. These are people that are very passionate about what they do. They went to school for many, many years to become a physical therapist. This is their career. This is not a stopping point along their career. This is their career, and they take it very seriously. So we don't have a lot of turnover, frankly, and it's just not something that we've really struggled with. Of course, like any business, we're going to have turnover, but as a franchisor, we have solutions for that, including partnerships with different networking groups. We're with 435 locations, we have a lot of folks that want to work for us. So we just haven't experienced the same kinds of things that maybe some of the other brands have. Third question, how do you maintain your franchisees if and when you cannot travel? Another really good question. So, what the pandemic forced every franchisor to do was to rethink how they provide support. I will say this, having been involved in franchising for as long as I have with multiple franchise brands, I can tell you this, that the support that we provide our franchisees, I've never seen a more passionate group of people supporting franchisees, but also just the way we employ technology, delivering content. We have a world-class franchise training program, as well as what we call Fyzical College, so access to that. We do multiple webinars weekly on topics ranging from marketing to operations to hiring, all kinds of different operational types of events that we hold for our franchisees. We also provide continuing education courses for our franchisees, but more importantly, for their workforce, for their physical therapists. That can be expensive for physical therapists to go out and get their own continuing education, which is required, and we provide that free. And it's very, very good content. So there's a lot of great ways that we're able to help our franchisees, even when we can't get in front of them directly. Fourth question, how are your franchisees financing their expansion? Yeah, so, because Fyzical is a relatively low cost franchise option, on average, somewhere around $250,000 all in to open a location, including working capital. We haven't found that our franchisees have had any issues getting financing. Most of our franchisees are doing a combination of self-financing as well as SBA loans. So that's probably the most typical way. Also, folks are using the ROBS program, the 401k rollover program. A lot of folks are doing that as well. So, we are on the SBA registry, so it's fairly straightforward for folks if they do want to go down that path. And any particular markets that we're focusing on, it's interesting. We have locations in about 39 states now, and so. That said, I will tell you that we still have very prime territory available. So markets that we'd like to see developed in a stronger way over the next 12 months include Dallas, Fort Worth, Atlanta, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Phoenix, Austin. Those are all prime markets for us. And, we just don't have a ton of locations there yet. So we have a lot of really good dirt for folks to develop yet. And that's it.